Not letting me go live. Oh, are we live?
We made it. Good morning, friends. I'm Dr. Abby.
And I'm Dr. Liz. Welcome to episode 10 of What's Up Docs, where we talk about how our movement patterns can affect our singing voices. And today we've got a special guest, professional singer, actor, dancer, and former student, Melissa Rivera. Before we talk to Melissa, I just want to show off a little bit of her amazing chops. So this is Melissa singing and performing in Rent, as she played Mimi as Rent. And of course, there are technical difficulties.
That's how it goes.
Just one sec. Oh, here we go. Nope, still technical difficulties.
Is it not letting you share the screen?
It is long story. This is very exciting. Here we go. All right, and because it is the 21st century and we need to cross train, check this out. All right, Melissa, brava, brava. That is so impressive.
Thanks.
All right, so Melissa, tell us a little bit about your performing career. Where did you kind of start? How did you get into professional performing? And what have you been doing?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I've been singing my whole life. I started doing mainly pop music, that kind of thing, and then I decided, oh, I'm going to go to school for music, not understanding that when you go to school for music, it's mainly classical. So the foundation of my actual training is in art songs and classical voice. So I have an undergraduate degree from San Diego State in music, and then I went on to get my master's in opera and musical theater performance from Southern Illinois University. And then from then on, it's just been contract after contract. Just like any other performer, there are times where you've got your highs and your lows. You've got your feast or famine. So there's times that you've got to have that survival job, and other times where I've been able to just live off of these long contracts. So I've been very grateful for that. It's mainly been musical theater. There's been some opera, like you just saw, but mainly musical theater. And recently, I did some concert style shows. So that's where you would have more of the pop music that is more readily available right now. But yeah, I've been doing that steadily since 2013. But before that, I did have, gigs here and there and smaller contracts while I was in school.
Excellent. All right. So, Abby, throw some questions at her.
Yeah. So I think number one, just because our lives are so different now because of COVID-19, I think we'd like to hear about what your day looks like right now, since performing is not necessarily available.
Yes, that's been rough. I was in the middle of rehearsals for In the Heights out here in California, and we were probably about a week or two away from tech, and all this hit. It was it was so painful. So yeah, performing here, it's done. It's not going to be a thing. So right now, it's a survival job kind of time, and I've been nannying full time, which has been really rewarding. I love the family that I work for. They're so supportive. But also on the side, I've been doing some voiceover work. So that means sitting in front of my computer and a microphone at my desk at 10 o'clock at night for about 3 hours, reading children's stories in Spanish, and then spending 2 hours to edit them. So still using the voice, but now it's a very different atmosphere, for sure.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, I know we're all in the same boat where everything has changed. And so what Liz and I were hoping to do is demonstrate to the world how a movement expert, a physical therapist, and a voice teacher can work together to work through some of the challenges that all singers, run into in their career. And so it's nice to know, what's current in terms of what your functional needs are, and also like what you're eventually going to get back to when the dust settles and you can get back to your performing life. So with that said, fill us in on some of the things that you would like for the two of us to work together to help you to sing with more ease, to basically ease any challenges that you're running into.
Mm-hmm. I've been experiencing a lot of tension in my neck and my throat, the back, like where it attaches to the back of your head, shoulders, just this whole area, even in my chest, like all of this just being so tight and constricted. And a little bit too in my lower back, just from where I've been holding. I mentioned a little bit about the concert style shows, and in those kinds of shows, um, costumes are very revealing and much tighter than you might get in musical theater or opera, depending on the role. So there was a lot of tightening and holding just so that I could feel more comfortable in the costume and the way I was being portrayed. So I have a lot of residual tension from that. Um, with the voiceover stuff I've been doing, it's been also the same type of thing of like
Mm-hmm.
holding in and being terrified to breathe, because if you breathe too much or too loudly, the microphone is going to pick it up and then you have to go back in and edit it. So
Oh,
that's been a huge pain.
so
Um,
not
I
breathing
imagine,
audibly.
well, and I imagine that actually creates more tension in the breathing as you're like, oh yeah, oh, that's definitely something we can work on.
yes,
Finding freedom and
absolutely.
silent breathing.
Absolutely, yes. So there's just a lot of tension all throughout, and I've been noticing in my voice because I'm still singing. I'm taking a pop rock audition class, which has been awesome. But I'm singing weekly, and I've been trying to get back into lessons here and there just to get rid of some of those old habits or some of those built up tensions. But what I've been noticing is that my voice isn't as open. It's not as full. There aren't as many dimensions that there used to be. It takes me longer to warm up, and um, I just feel like I'm constantly going and hitting that wall instead of having some finesse to the voice that I used to have. And it just might be that I'm out of practice, or it's very possible it's just a lot of tension and that build up that's been there for so long.
All of the above. Right? It's all of those things. It's never just one thing. Um, and I have to say, it looks like Abby may have frozen on us. So, Melissa, we're
Oh
just going
yeah.
to keep chatting until
Okay.
she might need to disconnect and come back in. But but yeah, these tension patterns that we have, interestingly enough, even though you were performing in all these tight costumes and you had to suck in all the time, yep, there she goes. She'll be back. Um, it's an extension or it's an exacerbation of what we do in real life. Like most of us already suck in and hold in, but you were asked to do something really extreme. So that's going to create some challenges. Um, and then as because you had to do that all the time, how many shows a week were you doing when you were doing the concert show?
It varied, but it was typically 9 to 11 shows a week.
Yeah. So you learned really well how to hold those muscles in. And I'm guessing you didn't learn how to let them go.
Oh no, no, no.
Right. And that builds on itself. So you cultivated a tension pattern that it's going to take some time to undo, but it's definitely possible to undo it. So I'm really excited. And what you said was spot on. Like what we would expect to hear when somebody is struggling with, this amount of tension is, yeah, your voice isn't going to be as sparkly. It's not going to be as open. It's certainly not going to feel easy. Oh, look, Abby's back. Yay. So what you welcome back, Abby.
Hello.
Um, so what you were saying is something that I hear in other students. These tension patterns take away any vocal subtlety. We feel like we got one volume, like I can sing loud really well, and that's it. So I'm excited to undo some of these tension patterns and find your sparkly voice again, right? Get that breath flowing, find that ease. And I know it's something that we can do, and I'm excited about it. That's why I'm laughing. Also, The three of us have way too much stinking fun, so it's also going to be a lot of fun to do. So, Abby, do you have any more questions? Nope, looks like she froze again. Okay, Melissa, I am going to.
Did I really freeze again?
You really did.
Oh.
Zoom and Comcast are struggling today, so the realities of 21st century Facebook Lives. I don't know. I guess all Facebook Lives are 21st century. We don't need to talk about that. Anyway, thank you to Melissa for joining us today. And thank you to Abby, of course, for participating when she could. And I just want to invite people to send in questions if you have questions. Also, hit Abby or me up. We're developing a program for singers just like Melissa, singers that are struggling with movement patterns at all levels, not just professional singers, but struggling with how movement patterns affect our voice. So hit us up for information on that program, and thanks for being here.